Leadership is not about you being in the center stage. It's about people. So if you're leading a team, no matter how small, people are the center stage. When I look at people or I look at leadership, my view is you can be an amazing leader on paper. You can have the right strategies. You can have the right thoughts. But if you don't have right people, what are you going to do with it? So leadership is about having right people, nurturing them, empowering them, and giving them their space, because you'll have different people in your team. Some people would want directions. Some people would just need, hey, I just need to know the basics. I think I can lead my way. And some people would be 100% dependent on you. So it's your job as a leader to identify where do you have to spend time, where do you have to give space, where do you have to give just instructions and your job is going to get done. It's your capability as a leader to understand where do you have to go and in which direction you have to take the team, right? It's also important to empower them. So if they want to do a certain thing or lead a certain way and you see a potential risk there, yes, it's your job to educate, but it's also your job to give them that space, give them that opportunity so that they can do things differently. And this is where they grow. So it's not about just you growing, right? It's also about people development, people growing. So that's another element of empowering them, giving them space.
Welcome back once again to my show Noble by Richa, a corporate podcast, and yet another episode with a wonderful guest here. She is a great talent acquisition leader and she is setting the bars high by having a lot of introduction of changes which is required in the industry. So I really want her to introduce herself. So I would just tell her name. She is Rukhsar Julekha. She is from ABB company and I want her to introduce herself.
Thank you, Richa, for having me and for this wonderful opportunity to be here. My name is Rukhsar, as you rightly said, and I lead talent acquisition function for a region in ABP. So it's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much once again for being here and of course agreeing to have the do this podcast with me. So Rukhsar, we want to know your journey and your perspective as well, how your journey happened, like from where you started, what were the hiccups in between, and how you overcome that. So how was your journey?
Of course. So I come from a tier 3 town, Gwalior, from Madhya Pradesh, and I did most of my education. I'm convent educated. I did my graduation as well from Gwalior, which is BBA, in finance, and I always wanted to be in finance.
Okay.
Somehow, I landed up in a college for masters in Delhi NCR. And I got so inspired by one of my professors in first year in HR stream that I decided to pursue HR only because of that professor. I was so inspired by the way he used to teach us and it got me interested in the subjects. And then somehow I decided to pursue internship there. Then again intrigued and then decided to take specialization in HR. So that's about, I think, 12, 13 years ago. When I concluded my master's, I landed my first corporate job through placements. However, that did not go well with my parents, if I can be very honest. And it was a 100% travel job. It was in campus recruitment. My father and you can say this is the first time a woman was out of the family working in a different city.
Okay.
So it was difficult for them to accept that I would be moving around 24/7. For that reason, I had to quit that job and then land another job in HR outside of placement. So that did not pay well. that was probably landing from sky straight to the earth. I think there was dramatic difference in the salary that I drew. But I at that point in time, and even now, I think I was so passionate about being independent, having a job, not asking for money, that kind of zeal at that time, that I said, okay, you allow me a couple of months, and if I'm not able to figure out something for myself, then I'm going to happily come back home.
Okay.
I somehow found a job. It was my first break. I was not 100% satisfied with it. I did feel every day that what am I doing here? How did this happen to me? But I learned so much. And then slowly that regret went away. And I started enjoying what I was doing. It did not pay well.
Okay.
I was making ends meet somehow as a fresh graduate. This went for about year and a half. And then I think for all of us, there was one hiccup as women, which was Nirbhaya in 2012. And this is where my first job I had kickstarted. So my parents were very, very uncomfortable with me living in Delhi NCR. And for that reason and multiple other reasons, they asked me to quit. So there was a period of about 9 months where I was sitting at home. For someone like me, it was really daunting to just sit at home, not have anything to do.
Yeah.
You've already concluded your education, and then there are talks that you're going to be married very soon. I think that made me crazy for a really long time. My parents, I think, understood that I'm not someone who could stay at home, because they could see the frustration in me. They could see that I'm not myself, I'm not happy, and I don't know where to use my energy. So, about 9 months post being at home, I think Bangalore happened. Fortunately, one of my cousin who lived here assured my parents that Bangalore is dramatically different than Delhi NCR. So Bangalore was a safer version or safer haven for my parents to send their daughter. So I landed in Bangalore on May 1st, 2014. I remember the date because it was very special for me.
Yes.
And I came here with my father. My cousin had already found a place for me to stay, and I immediately fell in love with the weather, and it started drizzling the moment we entered
Oh,
here.
that's great.
So it was like the right perfect
The
setting.
real heaven.
Yeah,
Yes.
real haven here. And I was staying in North Bangalore then. We found a place for me, and then I think I had a task for me to find a job as soon as possible, because I was still having my education loan to pay. And when you come with terms and conditions from your family that, hey, either you're doing this in the next couple of months or you just pack your bags and you go home. So a lot of pressure to find a job as soon as possible. I landed up in a recruitment agency, like how most of us start our recruitment journey. It was a startup, and I spent about 9 months there. Somehow, my cousin got me a good opportunity through his reference, and I ended up working for an organization called SL Kirloskar.
Okay.
So this is SLK Services. It's an IT services organization, and I spent about a year. So I had a very fluctuating career, if you see. So first job about 1.5 year, then 9 months in a startup recruitment agency, and then about 11 months when I got a call from ABB that we've seen your work. And somehow, if I can tell you how ABB found me, in the recruitment agency, ABB was one of the clients.
Okay.
So I was directly working for them. They were the main account that I was working for. So they had seen my work for their different legal entities. And when they were setting up their GCC here in Bangalore, they were reaching out to the recruiters that they already know. So 1 year later, after I had already quit from the agency, the recruitment team of ABB reached out, and that's how it began. And I think it's still continuing. And one amazing story that I wanted to share about working with ABB and how somehow I had manifested that day was that when I had just come to Bangalore, and I was visiting a mall nearby in the World Trade Center campus along with my cousin, and someone who has come from a small town looking at a building that's 31st story with a 31-story building. He's just sitting next to me, and I'm telling him that, it would be amazing to work here in this building. And somehow, I think the gods were listening at that time. And as I was mentioning, 9 months later, ABB was based there in WTC on 21st floor.
That's a real manifestation.
Yes, exactly. So somehow I had manifested for myself, and also the work that I had done in the past, right, somehow landed me there. So there was permutations and combinations that were happening in the background that you're not familiar of, and somehow it just happened that I landed with ABB, and it's been an incredible 9.5 years of being with ABB. And the whole journey of my career began actually with ABB, and then the amazing transformations that I've seen there as a professional and also as a person, because I joined as a 26-year-old in ABB, single, with an intent of being there for only 2 years, because I did not see ABB for very, very long term. I did not see a lot of things that I wanted to see in an organization from an outside. And then when I landed there, I have seen a lot of personal journeys. Like, I did get married at that time when I was working with ABB. I gave birth while being with ABB. And then now, being a mom, I still am there, because I do see that possibility of working
Yeah.
while balancing being a mother, being a parent
Okay.
to a child who has, immediate needs because she's a toddler. So I have seen all of my journey with ABB personally, and obviously the career journey that we're going to talk about.
That's
Yeah.
great to know. So, just wanted to ask that when the ABB reached out to you when you were in part of consultancy, so what was their move? Was it a very easy release? Because the policies are there that you can't work at times with the
Okay.
clients directly. I have read about these policies with
Yes.
few
Yeah.
organizations. You want to shed some light on that?
Sure. So I had already moved out of that agency.
Okay.
It had been a year. So when I moved out of that agency, I moved out for a better opportunity, which was SLK at that point in time for me. And that was a move from agency to a IT services organization, right? So for that reason, I think there was no hiccup or any hindrance coming from the agency, actually.
Okay. So that's really great to know about you, Rukhsar. Like the girls out there, if we talk about the small town, the city girls who are aiming and dreaming high,
Yeah.
yeah, and you are an inspiration. So to my viewers and listeners, Rukhsar is the best example if you are dreaming and manifestation.
One of the examples. I
One
would
of the
not say
examples,
best, yeah,
yes,
but yeah.
one of the example, like if you're dreaming, dream high,
Yes, absolutely.
and go for it. Hiccups are gonna
Yeah.
come on your way, but you really need to put your intentions clear to your parents or your family or friends, and you really need support as well,
Yeah.
because without support I don't think so this was
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah,
So
but I would also say that one is the support system around you. It's also important as an individual to have a lot of resilience in you, whether it is personal circumstances, whether it is professional circumstances. If you think that everything is going to go your way every single time, that's not okay.
okay.
And then you're not setting yourself up for a lot of success, because at any given point in time, some of us or all of us have to go through some setbacks.
Yeah.
It could be probably a failure in work setting. It could be a personal failure. It could be things not working out, family circumstances. If you do not have resilience or that flexibility in you that, yes, I'm going to have setbacks in my life. Yes, I need to stand up again. And then probably, just
Go with the flow.
yes, shake your hands and or probably your head, whatever works for you, and just go on.
Yeah.
Go on with your journey. If you think that everything is going to work out as you plan, that's not going to happen.
Being a leader or at ABB, like how did you shape up your journey? How was the graph? Give us some insights about that.
That's an interesting question. I think I want to give you a background of myself, how I became a leader, and then probably I can touch upon my leadership style. And obviously, while I can say a lot of things about myself as a leader, it's always good to know from your team or your people, right? So it would be good if you meet one of them or some of them when they are there. But yeah, so I spent about a couple of years in individual contributor roles. And then there was an opportunity where my manager asked me, hey, do you want to lead the team? You're doing good and your performance has been nice. I said, no, sorry, I can be everything, but I don't want to be a people leader. And the reason for that is when you're not a people leader, you're an individual contributor, you see. You don't want to be responsible for other people's work, right?
Yeah.
You get bashing for somebody not doing a job. You get acknowledgement, but that acknowledgement goes away. So I was with an perception that I don't think so it's the best thing out there, leading other people, their work. But then he mentioned to me that that's where you see your own growth as a professional. Otherwise, you'll continue to go into individual contribution direction, and that's okay if you decide to do it. But here's where you'll learn new things. Here's where you'll see the other side of you as a professional. And at about 5 years of overall experience in my career, I was handed over a team of 14 people, and I was I was in charge of leading them, motivating them, developing them. At 5 years, maybe now it's very very common, and I think about 8-9 years ago it was not that common. So when I took up this opportunity, I was definitely nervous of leading people, but at the same time, after entering into the role, I was really really excited. So this is how I began my leadership journey, by not wanting to do it but eventually ending up doing it. And then when I entered it, it's a roller coaster. If you've been a people leader, you would know every day is a roller coaster, at least in ABB. And that's where I took the people leadership role. My leadership stance, or the way I look at leadership is, leadership is not about you being in the center stage.
Okay.
It's about people. Okay. So if you're leading a team, no matter how big, no matter how small, people are the center stage. Your people are the center stage of leadership, right? So when I look at people, or I look at leadership, my view is you can be an amazing leader on paper. You can have the right strategies. You can have the right thoughts. You can have the right execution strategy also. But if you don't have right people, what are you going to do with it? Right?
Yeah.
So leadership is about having right people, nurturing them, empowering them, and giving them their space, because you'll have different people in your team. Some people would want directions, some people would just need, hey, I just need to know the basics, I think I can lead my way, and some people would be 100% dependent on you. So it's your job as a leader to identify where do you have to spend time, where do you have to give space, where do you have to give just instructions, and your job is going to get done. It's your capability as a leader to understand where you have to go and in which direction you have to take the team,
Okay.
right? It's also important to empower them. So if they want to do a certain thing or lead a certain way and you see a potential risk there, yes, it's your job to educate, but it's also your job to give them that space, give them that opportunity, so that they can do things differently. And this is where they grow. So it's not about just you growing, right? It's
Yeah.
also about people development, people growing. So that's another element of empowering them, giving them space. And it did not happen just overnight. I have experienced this kind of leadership. My leaders gave me space. My leaders gave me a lot of trust. They empowered me to take my own decisions when I'm leading something. They gave me amazing opportunities in the form of projects. They gave me interns also to develop them, mentor them very early stage in my career, right? So when I saw, I learned and absorbed from it. And that's what you can see as a reflection in my leadership journey, in my leadership, how I do, or how I am a leader, as a leader, how I am. You can see that coming from my own experiences.
Yeah.
So I think even when ABB was talking, when I had just come back from my maternity break, they wanted to capture, let's say, an employee story or a testimonial. I don't know if it's still there on the website, but um, why did you decide to come back? And how do you lead the team? How do you lead the people? And even then, my answer was the same. What I received, I'm only trying to give back.
Yeah.
So, as an individual contributor, I received a lot of opportunities. I received a lot of empowerment and flexibility. And similarly, I lead in similar fashion. However, I have given it my own flavor to it,
Yeah.
right? So I do lead in a similar fashion, but there's a flavor to it. So in my leadership, while there's an angle of trust, empowerment, space, flexibility, there's also a flavor of situational leadership. So I think it's called situational leadership now, but as a manager or as a leader, you know that this resource needs you.
Yes.
This one does not.
Yeah.
This one can manage run. This one can walk. This one can crawl. And that's your responsibility as a leader to provide that kind of support only. And you don't have to do their job. You just have to hold their hand.
Okay. Yeah.
And then they are on their own.
Okay. So, have you ever faced a scenario that somebody has reached out to you and they are seeking some support or guidance from you? Although, of course, you are always, 100% there to help them out. But there was a situation that you could not do because of the situation. It was not provided. You could not provide maybe for that certain time being. So, how could you handle that emotion or
Yeah.
that situation?
So if I understand it correctly, is that about the opportunities that they're looking for and they did not
Yes,
get
like
it?
it's unfair to say no to your team
Yeah,
members
of
because they
course.
are
Yeah.
relying on you. So instead of course, you can't say no, but how could you tackle that situation? Because I want everyone here, and especially the leaders out there and the upcoming leaders to understand with your answer that how can they handle such scenario where you can't say no, but you can't, you can say in layman language, break the heart of your employees
Yeah,
as
of
well, the
course.
trust.
So I think it's a very tricky question, but I think I can. I'm going to try and answer this. How I personally manage, and these are my opinions. Obviously, people can feel free to differentiate in the situation. So, um, the team is going to expect a lot from you. A lot. Like
Yeah.
there's no end to expectations of people, right? One is that the team needs to understand, and it's your job as a leader to make them understand what is practical expectations. You
Yeah.
have to be pragmatic about everything when you're in corporate. You can have aspirations, but there are 15 other people who also have aspirations,
Yeah.
right? How do you differentiate in them? So as a leader, the first important step is to set expectations, right? Yes, everybody has expectations, but are these practical? Are these genuine expectations, right? That's point number one. Point number two would be you need to see where they are in their actual journey. And it's your job to give them a reflection. So if they're amazing, please acknowledge that they're amazing. But hey, you're amazing. It cannot happen immediately. It
Yeah.
can happen after some time, right? If they're not doing amazing, and there will be people who are not doing amazing in your team,
Yeah.
it's your job as a leader to give them that reflection
Yeah.
that hey, I still see there's some opportunity to live up to your current role, current responsibilities. Maybe we fill this gap, or maybe we look at it differently, or there's a different lens in which we can provide them that feedback. Then make them understand that this is probably not immediately for you, maybe in some time. So if I quote a very, very fresh example, I think our team was expanding at ABB, and we dramatically grew from single digit to 30 plus people in our team.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then we decided that it's too much for me to have 30 people reporting directly. And we decided that we would like to have at least two, three leaders within the team. So leads. And then somehow we had this thing that we don't want to hire from outside. Initially, our thoughts were that we want to keep this internal. We want to look at people because it's also their opportunity to grow.
Yeah.
Like how somebody trusted me, I can trust someone with these opportunities. And we wanted to see the entire process, how many people first come out,
Yeah. Okay.
show interest. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of interest that came out. That's one good thing, that people do see or
Yes.
trust the process, that there's something that's possible here, there's something that can happen here. We did go live, and eventually we did successfully close one internally. Second one, we waited for another 1 year.
Okay.
We still wanted to keep it internal. We waited for another 1 year before we decided to take someone else. And I think the third one we decided to go external. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's about it. And you see there's a lot of interest coming out. That's one. Then if everybody is interested, you as a leader know who's probably there, who's not there yet. And to keep it very, very, very fair, because I know all of them,
Yeah.
I did not want my perception to come in between the interview process. Although I know, hey, this one's ready, this one's not ready. We decided to do cross department, cross functional interviews, assessments for them, so that they understand that it's not coming from me.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of fairness in the process. And it was accepted by the team because they did see me not taking that decision. And there's no harm in leader taking a decision, but just to ensure that there's no perception
Yeah.
of unfairness in the process.
Yeah.
As a leader, you rely on a couple of resources to be your right hands, and they help you in different things without having official responsibilities. I did not want that to be a reason for the positions to go to them.
Okay.
And can you imagine, it did not go to them.
Yeah.
There were some other people who came out during the process,
Okay.
and they were identified for the positions. So I think it gave them a little bit of fairness,
Yes.
that yes, while the process is internal and I'm involved in the decision making, it's not just me.
Okay.
There's an opportunity with them. So one is leading
Yeah.
with examples, which is what I just quoted right now. The other one is also being practical about the expectations, that hey, this is feasible, this is not feasible. And then there will be a third time or an instance where you really want to do something for someone as a leader, but it's not always possible within the organization,
Okay. Okay.
right?
Yeah.
It could be multiple reasons. The position what they want does not exist,
Yeah.
or either you have to quit and go for them them to move up the ladder, right?
Yeah.
And that should also happen from time to time. So I'm here because my previous manager decided to pursue something else. Otherwise, I would have stayed or moved out of the organization, right? So third element is always there, that you want to, but you cannot.
Yeah.
And that also you have to be very, very transparent about it. I think the teams actually accept honesty and transparency and
Transparency,
fairness.
yes.
Yeah.
So I want to know some insights from you at talent acquisition about the matrix, how you are handling it at your end.
Okay. So, from my view, I think Matrix is not the whole story. You know, Matrix is probably a compass around which you need to probably monitor, see the progress, etc. But I think it's your journey. It's not the destination of what you want to do. At least in ABB talent acquisition or at ABB in our talent acquisition team, we keep Matrix as our common ground. However, we do not let it define what we can achieve or what we cannot achieve.
Okay.
I want to quote an example from last year. I think ABB talent acquisition team has undergone a transformation couple of years ago, and we had a lot of new strategies come in, lot of different ways of doing the same things, or probably relooking at the processes and efficiencies, etc. And we were given a certain elements of matrix, right?
Okay.
At that point in time, it felt like, okay, I don't know if we can do this because we were far behind at country level. At least in India, we were far behind. And in other countries also, if I can recall, I think we were not close to what we were given as our new matrix. Somehow, when we accepted it, we accepted it. We said, okay, this is what is coming. Let's accept it and let's see what we can do. Initially, that's where we started. And when we started working on that, I think we as a team came together. You know, we just got on board with the idea that let's crush this, okay, somehow. And let's ensure that we are crushing it with a lot of margin. Okay. So we did achieve our matrix.
Okay.
We did achieve what was expected. We surpassed it by a good percentage, like 20-30%, if I can say so. And we overachieved our matrix. So yes, we were acknowledged internally. All of the appreciation that was deserved, it came our way. But I want to tell you that just by telling people that, hey, these are your 5 KPIs as a recruiter, go ahead and achieve it, I don't think that's how it works. There's a lot of work in the background that a leader has to do. It's about not just what, but how you're achieving it. So that how comes from your people again. So I'm going to circle back to what I said about people first, right? So we did lay emphasis on this, that these are our 4-5 KPIs. We have to achieve them and we have to ensure we're achieving them. But that was not the only thing we were aiming for, like I said. We were talking about a lot of motivation in the team that, yes, let's do it, how to do it. There's a lot of work in the background. We did change the processes and how which we were operating in India. A lot of lift and shift of work. We actually added different capabilities in the team that were missing to make this happen. So we were operating in a recruiter only model. We added a sourcing capability. We added branding capability to lead to the attraction of the talent that we were looking for. That in turn also helps attract talent faster. Same people faster, right? So a lot of background work. But you will not believe, Richa, but this only happened again because of people. I can do everyday morning huddles. I can reach out to people every day. Hey, what's your count of resume? Hey, what's your count of number of positions closed? We did that bit also a little bit, but that was not the whole story. It was about teams somehow coming on board with the challenge, accepting it, and then owning it. If my team did not own that challenge, I would have not delivered that KPI or matrix. So, just to probably summarize, I think matrix is good to have. Obviously, it keeps you grounded, it gives you a direction, but it's not the end of the world, even in talent acquisition. Although we are very number driven, right? These many positions, these many offers, these many positions.
You have to meet, yes.
So at ABB, we monitor everything. So time to fill, quality of hire, experience surveys from hiring managers, from candidates as well. There's obviously an element of diversity, etc. But we do not hold ourselves only to it. We constantly look at, yes, we own this, we achieve this, but what else and how better we can do things what we are doing today. Yeah.
So with your answer, I could understand that, of course, especially at talent acquisition, being, number driven is important, but that's not only the, one circle.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you need to see a lot of dimensions when you are handling a talent acquisition, because sometimes the hiring can go tough with
Yeah.
some niche requirements and all, and the resilience is very much important at that time. And
Yes.
you can just go back and have a case study that what is the need of this position and
Absolutely.
how we can change to our strategy to fill up that position, instead of maybe going haywire and creating maybe anxiety out of that situation, that
Yeah.
no, we need to fill up and just
Yeah.
fill up with. So filling up the position and just filling up, there's a very thin line
Yeah.
between it. So I could understand that, you
Yeah.
have really set a very great example with your team, with ABB, and you have that's what I am telling you in every answer of yours, that you have set the bar high. You are telling your team that I am there, you go ahead, have a case study, do some research, and I'm gonna help you, I'm
Yeah.
there for you. So you are really
So
setting
I
a
want
very
to
great
add one
example.
thing to that. I think you can ask my team about it, but I'm very confident they're going to agree to it. No, I'm not sure about the other things, but that whenever there's a situation, and sometimes my recruiters or the talent partners or sourcers, they're quite anxious about a situation, and my usually one word answer is chill.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to handle it. Even if it's our mistake, we will handle it. It's not our mistake, of course we're going to handle it. So there's always that confidence that you boost
Yes.
in them, that it's okay, there's a problem, it's fine,
Yeah.
it's not end of the world.
Yeah.
Just chill a bit, we're going to solve for it. And I do believe in that. So there's one resource very specifically in my team who's worked with me for a really long period of time. He most of the times comes back to me, oh my god, you were not there and this has happened and I don't know how to manage this. But I'm like, chill,
Yeah.
it's recruitment.
Yeah.
I don't think so there's anything that cannot wait for a day,
Yeah.
or let's say 9 hours. So one is instilling that confidence in the team that things can go wrong. Even if you've not achieved it now, I'm going back to the matrix, it's fine, there's still time. Here's what you can do differently to probably achieve it, or maybe reach that
Yes.
goal. Because you'll always have different people in your team, right? There are overachievers, there are achievers, and there are average performers, like that. So, and you need all of them. Okay,
Yes.
you cannot sustain as a leader if you have a constantly everybody's high performing in your team. You don't know what to do with them,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So
Like
you
you will
need a
not be
mix.
able to tackle the situations, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you need a balance. So it's always good to instill that calmness. They should feel the calm when you are there, you're not there. They should know that you will be there with them, even if there's, let's say, circumstances that are beyond their control. So instilling confidence in them that, hey, it has happened, amazing. It has not happened, then also it is fine.
Okay. Yeah. So how do you decide the right scale and strategy when building growing and strong team?
Okay. I think it's this is something that every leader comes across whenever we are left with the question that, okay, there's growth coming up for the country or the organization. How do you want to grow your own team? And usually you would see a tendency with people to immediately hire a lot of people, right? But I think, in my opinion, it's about bifurcating your channels, not relying only on one channel for delivering success, right?
Okay.
So if you're expanding, obviously, if you see, and I want to quote live example, in ABB in last couple of years in India, we have seen tremendous growth. India is a hotspot for amazing skills, as you know.
Yeah.
So all upcoming technologies, all upcoming skills, we hire them here. So to give you a background, ABB in India has 3 legal entities, which is the core manufacturing entity, which is listed in India, which is ABB India Limited, which is focusing on the manufacturing skills, right from engineering to supply chain, quality, etc.
Yeah.
And sales and marketing, obviously the commercial ones. The second one is although it's a GCC, but it's an R&D. So all the research and development positions, they happen to be there. So global technology center or corporate technology center, it's based in India. So that's our second legal entity, where we hire a lot of software skills, right? So a lot of development, a lot of PhDs, those kind of skills come in the second category. The third one is our actual GCC, where we kickstarted sometime in 2016 or 2015, and which started as the regular back-end operations kind of center, but has tremendously grown into value-added services also. So if I give you an example, right from HR operations, finance operations, the traditional GCC setup, a captive GCC setup, we now have an element of data analytics. HR analytics sitting, global HR analytics, data analytics, the pricing analytics team, everything is based out of Bangalore GCC setup. So it's not restricted just to the operations hiring, but also the value added. And we have seen a lot of trend coming to India, and it's not just an ABB trend. If you read any GCC report, a lot of global positions are getting hosted in India now.
Okay.
So we have a mixture of a wide variety of skills, right? So we get to experience new technologies from our R&Ds, analytics and data science and AI in our GCCs, and the regular core traditional hiring in the manufacturing space. So my team is responsible for all of it. And every year, somehow, in India, we're growing somewhere or the other. So whether it is our GCC, we are having a new project. This year, we are building a central finance team in Bangalore. I think 1 year ago, we hired about, and the project was called 100 sales folks in 100 days. So 100 in 100 was the name of the project. So you have to hire 100 salespeople in 100 days, which is about 1 quarter, right? So every year, India team experiences some or the other growth projects. Last year, we did a finance transformation program, about 500, 600 people in finance capability
In a
in a
quarter?
in a year.
In a year.
In a
Okay,
year,
yeah.
okay. And this happens every year. So what I can do at one time is keep a standard base of number of people that we have. So we looked at our volumes trend. We used data there. We used a lot of technology now in ABB in recruitment, where we talk about the trends. So if my volumes are looking like this now, how it's going to look like in near future in the entire year. So we are able to predict what kind of volumes we experience year on year basis, right? And using that, we saw a standard trend of couple of thousands every year, using which we decided that a certain number of team members as a talent acquisition partner should always be available in the team. And if there's anything project specific, then we use a different channel that has come only on temporary basis.
Okay.
So if there's a temporary project requirement, we do not want resources getting added like a 6 months contract. We rather prefer having external help RPOs, right?
Okay.
So multi-channel strategy that I was talking about would be that live example of ABB in India, we expanded our team from 10 to 30 plus now.
Yeah.
And there are different capabilities in that now. So not limiting ourselves to only talent partner capability, but we added a complete sourcing capability in India for all different new skills that I spoke about, right? Then there is a branding capability, which did not exist before. It was managed globally. Now it is based in India, where we are also looking at how we can attract talent
Yeah.
in these capabilities.
Yes.
Position ourselves as an employer of choice in this, right? So this strategy is working well so far because we have the traditional numbers that we need as talent partners. Wherever we have niche requirements, or if a talent partner is overflown with their requirements, we have sourcers pitching in and giving them the profile pipeline that they need. Some of our sourcers also act as talent partners, so they become the future capability of talent partner for us. So we're not only looking at their existing roles, but for developing them and for them to take up the new role, become the succession for the existing team members, they also start proactively working as talent partners. So we do a mix of different capability within our team. That's the first strategy. The second strategy is that if there is project based, or let's say uncertain demand that comes up, which is not an every year trend. We see this only for this year, or it's going to last for 1 or 2 years, project based, transformation based. Then we take external help apart from our own internal team. So we will dedicate a talent partner from our team for that business, but we'll definitely have external help in form of RPOs. So we ensure that business is involved when we are taking those decisions.
Okay.
That these are the opportunities available, these are the options available, what fits the best, and we give them multiple combinations. So it can be internal only, it can be internal plus external, and this is the percentage variation. And these strategies happen sometime in August and September. When the budget forecasting takes place, right? This is another strategy to look at. The third strategy that we have in our own team is keeping our organization flexible up to 20%, 25%, which means that some of our team members have flex contracts And now economy is becoming far more accepting of flex contracts, and we see acceptance coming from employees as well. So we make use of that, because at ABB, and personally me, we do not believe in hiring a lot of people and then layoffs
Yeah.
any minute kind of situation. We are very meticulous with our calculations, and I'm sure other organizations are as well. But we do not find it in ourselves to hire and then fire somehow. So what we do is we have those flexible contracts,
Okay.
and if our volumes go down, we do not renew contracts. That's how it works currently. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the different um, you know models that we are trying to work with, and so far it's looking okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
and for the first time as well, I am hearing from an organization who has the policy of like we will hire but will not fire.
Yeah, at
And
least
this
we
is,
try not.
yes, yeah.
And you'll never see ABB in news for such things.
I have never heard,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And ABB, as I told, like I did recently a podcast with one more person from ABB, and I told her as well that ABB is quite close to me because one of my family member has also worked with
Amazing.
ABB.
Yeah.
Yes, my sister got married to a person who was a part of ABB. So
That's good.
yes, I
We always find our connections through the
yes,
organization.
the world is very small, you
Yeah.
know, the universe gets us connected. So yes, about the news and all, we have never heard, you know,
Yeah.
the layoffs and all.
It's
I'm
very
not
intentional.
yeah.
So it's not that we don't want to dramatically grow, like other organizations. We don't want to just go out there and, hey, we are hiring 5,000 people. It's not like we don't want to do that.
Yes.
But we are very meticulous in terms of responsible,
Yes.
in terms of, if we do this, are there repercussions, are there consequences if this just does not go as planned.
Right.
So very limited times when it's restructuring, etc., we also try to absorb people within. So you would see our internal mobility globally is also amazing, but in India we are 25% internal mobility. So whatever numbers we hire, 25% of those volumes are getting closed internally, which means our people prefer to move within the organization rather than moving away.
Right.
So that's the culture that we try to build at ABB.
Yes, and I can see a very strong conscious mindset is there
Yes.
when it comes to holding your employees at ABB, and I really appreciate. I just want to like have a big round of appreciation for you that you are setting up example. I'm quite curious to know. You just now you mentioned about R&D at ABB, but I till now what I had vision about ABB, it's only about the manufacturing. And that's something I'm so curious to know.
Yeah. Okay. So I think I'm not hearing this for the first time, honestly. I know there are folks who have not experienced ABB or don't know much at length. So you just go with the initial view of what ABB does. But ABB, first of all, does amazing things. Okay. As an employee, I can tell you that it's an amazing organization. It's into vast variety of work that we do. So as I mentioned in my previous answer, that yes, there's manufacturing, right? But we are a product organization, right? So we're not limited only to manufacturing, hardcore engineering,
Yeah.
but there's the softwares also that runs. There's digital business of ABB that is digitizing the whole automation industry, or our solutions at least, right? Then there's the R&D capability where we are spending a lot of investments or doing a lot of investments in the R&D capability of the organization. So there's new innovations that's coming up. And obviously then there are technologies, or you can say products that ABB uses for their own manufacturing, right? So software solutions, and there's one business of ABB that does the complete
Okay.
packaged solutions, that's known as the automation business area of ABB. There you have a mix of digital, you have the industrial automation, you have the energy industries where you're giving the software solutions, you're giving the engineering solutions to your customers. So ABB is a gamut of things which is not restricted just to manufacturing. There's software capabilities, IT capabilities that we hire. There's the latest technologies, upcoming technologies that are coming up. We are obviously hiring for AI, like every other organization, but not because every other organization is hiring, but because we actually need them in our work. And there's data analytics, a lot of data science work that team does. There are a whole set of teams that are based right here in Bangalore that are doing such amazing work in technology space.
That's great to know, because this is really an eye-opening statement. Because till now, I had a, like, of course, a lot of people out there had the vision that what ABB exactly into, but now the broader perspective we are getting to know from you, that what ABB is doing and what are the plans in future, where till where the plans are there to expand. So it's a great answers and great insights from your end. So what does the future of talent acquisition at ABB looks like through the lens of diversity?
Okay. I think it's a very common question, quite trending when it comes to diversity, right? Everybody wants to talk about diversity, but there's something very core at heart for ABB, which is merit. So for us, whenever we are doing talent acquisition practices or when we hire, our sole purpose or our sole way of finding a candidate is through merit. Having said that, we do understand people come from different backgrounds. They come from different sphere in lives where they would have not had the opportunity to grow or expose themselves as much, right? So while we look at merit, we also ensure we are implementing practices to give a fair chance to all the groups, whether it is underrepresentative groups, whether it is women or any other dimension of diversity. What I mean by that is implementing practices where there are candidates represented from each groups. So when we present these profiles, we ensure that there's diversity angle attached to it, which means yes, there will be profiles that are coming from the experience what managers are looking for, but there may be some profiles which were not exactly 100% matching, but we do see potential in those profiles. So one angle is to ensure that there is diversity of candidates that we present to the hiring manager. We have also seen that there are groups who have not had fair opportunity at education. So I want to give you one amazing example of what ABB is doing in the CSR space. But what we have also done is developed it into a talent acquisition practice. So ABB is associated with the Leela Poonawalla Foundation, through which every year we sponsor about 200 girls for their engineering education, right? This is end-to-end sponsored by ABB, which is an amazing thing to do. And these girls or women come from underrepresentative, let's say, backgrounds or humble backgrounds. They get sponsorships through merits, obviously. During the entire journey of their engineering, what we want to ensure is that they get exposed to ABB to understand it's not mandatory for them, but ABB is an employer of choice, is an environment that we want to create for them. For that, we have developed something called as ABB Sustainable Talent Program in India, in which there's a 2-year journey for these girls with different touch points where they get to experience some part of ABB in those touch points. So it could be through internships, it could be through development programs, soft skill programs. So they are industry ready, right? ABB campus, right now we focus on, let's say, a certain list of colleges. Then we give, obviously, preferences through merit there as well. But we do an exception for LPF students, where we say that they can be outside the college list from where we hire when we are hiring fresh graduates, but they go through the same process.
Okay.
So we still keep the merit. However, we are still getting the underrepresented groups in the process, which is what I was trying to tell you before, that while merit is in the heart of ABB, we also ensure that the underrepresentation is actually given a fair opportunity and they prove themselves to be fair and merit driven in that process. They get opportunities and we have seen success here. So we are not touching upon just women diversity through this. We are also looking at marginalized communities, for examples, or that's not the right word, probably coming from a different social group, right? So they also get represented in the hiring process, and if they clear through merit, they become part of ABB. What we are trying to do with this is include them. In normal circumstances, they would have not been part of the process because managers or businesses have preferences for specific colleges. But through this development program, we ensure that they are also participating in the hiring practices. So this is one example of how we look at
Okay.
diversity, right?
Yeah.
What this program also does is, when you've had such amazing engagement from the beginning of your education, and then you also experience an internship, also an experience an employment with ABB, there's a certain sense of emotional connect that these amazing girls build. And we also ensure that they don't just have opportunities for just coming and joining in very specific positions, but we've kept it open for the traditional manufacturing positions also. And they've shown some amazing success there as well. They have signed up for traveling jobs, which usually people assume or managers assume that a woman would not do, right? So we've seen success with this program there as well. uh, Another example I would quote is, what we have done from talent acquisition is to do a little bit of understanding or reflection or gap analysis in our three different legal entities that I spoke about. So in manufacturing, yes, we do see gap in women population at ABB.
Yeah.
We are not where we would like to be, right? Similarly, in R&D, we would have done an understanding of, okay, here's where we can improve, which element of diversity, which dimension of diversity we want to improve on. Same goes for GCC. So for GCC, our women representation, for example, is 45% or 40 plus percent. But we want to see more of women in the leadership space, right? So we measure on the basis of our different businesses where is the gap and what is the gap. And then from talent acquisition lens, we try to fill that gap through different solutions, like engaging in different kind of partnerships for women,
Okay.
right? For example, women is one such example. Obviously diversity is multifold. So building partnerships, engaging with let's say suppliers or vendors or platforms where women have opportunity to discover ABB,
Yeah.
where they learn about ABB, where they learn that, hey, while this is not what I would consider otherwise, but here's a returnee program, here's a women only kind of event that's happening for women to get to know about ABB. So we do a lot of engagement just to ensure there's education, there's awareness, and this all comes from lens of talent acquisition
Okay.
for the organization. So people get to know about ABB a little bit more in that specific section of diversity.
Okay. So this is like, again, it's like a ice breaking answer which I got from you, because ABB is not only looking on a diversity perspective. Of course, it is much required, but when I am hearing things about you on the part of ABB representation, it's about the company and the policies and giving the equal opportunities. It's not only the diversity. So
Yes, that's very specific to ABB,
Yes.
that we do not let go of merit no matter what section of diversity we want to cater to. Merit is the first thing that we hold very dearly. Once merit is met, everybody else is equal.
Yeah, right.
Diversity is important,
Yes.
and we do pay attention to what we can do to improve the chances, the opportunities for different dimensions of diversity. But we never hire in ABB only because someone comes from a certain diversity dimension.
Okay.
That's for sure.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
merit driven.
Okay, great. I want to know about your top rules, like which keeps you moving.
Okay. I think that's an interesting question. I've not thought of this, but yeah, immediately that comes to my mind is that I do everything with my everything personally, professionally, with all honesty. So if I sign up for something, whether it's a role or a personal assignment, probably being a mother, I do it with 100% honesty, 100% ownership and accountability, and I somehow expect that from people as well. I mean, as a person, as a professional, as a leader, well, I expect or I run my life with 100% honesty. Other thing would be that I'm very proud of, that I'm very resilient as a human being. I fall, I get up. I take my time. I'll go in corner. I'll release my emotions, probably cry a little bit if required. But I would come back. I know that about myself, that there's very limited or no things that can now literally push me down and I can't come back up. So I'm very proud of my resilience. Another thing would be my constant need to change, I constantly feel like, okay, let's upskill, let's do something different, let's probably look at different things, explore or expand horizon, as
Yeah.
we call it, right? Because I think a lot of us, including myself a certain time ago, believed that leadership is like, okay, you're just managing people. But right now, I want to touch upon, maybe this is slightly deviating from what you're asking me, but then with the speed with which technology is changing, there's a lot of need for leadership to adapt quickly.
Okay.
So technology is changing faster, but leadership change comes very gradual. So there's a immediate need to have agility in all the leaders, agility to learn, accept change, agility to adapt to whatever is coming up in front of you, whether it's a technology, different kind of people to manage, right? So as leaders, of course, you need a lot of agility to adapt. One more thing I think that you would need, given that we have spoken about leadership in this conversation, is um, being able to adapt to to change or continuously changing yourself.
Yeah.
And then you lead as an example, as a role model for your own team. If you do not show that acceptance for change, if you do not adapt change yourself, you cannot accept or expect your teams to change
Yeah.
or accept change, right? So constantly need for changing. Obviously the circumstances, the organization will keep throwing that change at you, and as leaders it's important that you accept it first and then only expect your teams to,
To follow that same.
yes,
Yes.
yes, accept that change. You never know when tables can turn, right? So it's always important. And I have told this to my team also constant number of times, that when you're dealing with your subordinates or superiors, don't change your behavior, that you treat your customers and superiors differently and subordinates differently. There's no time in which tables can turn. They can pick up something else, probably come become peers, probably become superiors to you, right? So always stay grounded, always respect people equally, according to me. That's couple of my rules in in life, Richa.
So, thank you so much. That's a really great takeaway, and I would love to have more podcast, more episodes with you. Of course, on different questions,
Yes,
different
absolutely.
parameters,
Yeah.
through which we can bring a change in
Yeah.
our society, in the industry, about the ABB and the different organizations with different leaders. So sooner, I am gonna be having group podcast with different leaders of different
Absolutely. Yeah.
organizations. So stay tuned. Thank you so much, Rukhsar, for coming on my show, being a part of my journey. It was lovely to hear your thoughts, unfiltered talk, yeah,
Yes.
and very honest conversation we had. So thank you so much. And to my viewers and listeners, stay tuned, because Rukhsar has given a lot of insights about when it comes to knowing the ABB, which is the main agenda of this podcast. So please stay tuned. Once we'll have a release about this, you will have a different vision about ABB, about the leaders, about the talent acquisition. A lot of mind shift will happen through this podcast. So stay tuned, and thank you so much for watching my show.